The construct, it's incredible. It's large, it's massive.
Wow. But the key piece of data is yet to come. We're all keenly interested in the dendral results on the question mark shaft. And that could lead us, well, could lead us just about anywhere.
For more than 2 centuries, Oak Island has swallowed hopes, fortunes, and entire lifetimes. But tonight, that era ends. A sealed chamber has finally been opened. And what lies inside isn't treasure. It's a direct challenge to human history itself. A structure so ancient, so impossibly sophisticated, that by all logic, it should not exist. If you're ready to step into the shadows of a secret that has waited hundreds of years to be found, make sure you subscribe, because what you're about to hear changes everything. This time, the team didn't uncover coins or gems. They uncovered a message, one that was buried intentionally, shielded behind layers of traps built by people who clearly knew exactly what they were doing. And here's the part nobody warns you about. This discovery isn't closing the mystery. It's kicking open the door to a far more terrifying one. A stone doorway. Even after years of finding Spanish coins, medieval artifacts, old wooden platforms, this is the discovery that has Rick and Marty Lagina on edge. Decades of drilling, digging, and crushing disappointments have taught them to be cautious. But this has reignited something inside them. Rick sees patterns forming, like every strange artifact they've uncovered is finally snapping into place, creating one massive design. Marty, ever the logical one, is zeroed in on the engineering, the reinforced timber, the stone layering, the precision. Whoever constructed this wasn't storing trash. They were guarding something that mattered on a global level. If the Portuguese had a hand in building that ancient road in the swamp, then this chamber might be the blueprint behind it all. And that's why everyone is tense. This structure wasn't an accident. It was masterfully crafted. And the scariest part is that it was built to endure forever. The breakthrough came on the eastern edge of the swamp, an area earlier teams had waved off as irrelevant. But the Laginas never trusted old assumptions. They've always believed the island itself is a trick, a giant maze meant to mislead anyone who tries to uncover its secret. This time, the discovery wasn't luck. It was technology. Advanced radar imaging exposed shapes and outlines, a map of something artificial. Then came the drilling. Narrow shafts dropped from above with the precision of surgery. When the probe camera finally slid into the darkness, the footage confirmed the unthinkable. Solid stone walls, stacked rock layers, timber beams untouched by water. This structure wasn't just ancient, it was immaculate. Half a century ago, nobody would have believed it. But today, the tech speaks for itself. Drill after drill cut deeper, peeling back time. Perfectly preserved wood appeared. Hand-laid stone emerged, and nearly 80 feet down after a sharp westward turn, the drill hit something unmistakable. Not bedrock, not rubble, a wall, and not just any wall. A flawlessly smooth surface made from a type of granite, streaked with mineral veins not found anywhere on Oak Island. Set into its face were iron fasteners, forged by hand, rusted by centuries. This was deliberate. This was engineering. They had reached the outer skin of the chamber. Then something no one expected happened, a low vibration. At first, barely noticeable, then stronger. The ground seemed to hum. A surface sensor suddenly went dead. Another began flickering. Pressure surged across the southern dig line. The team froze. Data spiked. Something beneath them was shifting. For the first time, the island didn't just feel ancient, it felt alive. But they couldn't stop now. What began as a single tunnel has transformed into something far more ominous, a full underground system. Radar sweeps and probe cams are showing branching corridors, angled passageways, slopes, and curved routes that look like they belong in a labyrinth. This isn't a tunnel, it's an engineered network. For years, people dismissed the idea of an underground grid. Now it's no longer a theory, it's real. The emerging map shows patterns, perfect angles, parallel shafts, repeating measurements. These aren't natural formations, they're designed structures, likely meant to hide something or protect it. That's when the whispers return. The Templar theory. For decades, Oak Island has been linked to the Knights Templar, a secretive order rumored to have escaped Europe carrying priceless relics. Their roots point toward the Atlantic. Ancient maps, coded documents, and French artifacts found on the island have all hinted at Nova Scotia. It sounded ridiculous. Until now, because nothing about a multi-level, precision-cut tunnel system is random. And this leads directly into the island's darkest possibility, the trapdoor theory. Legend has it that somewhere beneath Oak Island lies a false floor, maybe above the main treasure chamber, maybe above nothing at all. One wrong move, and everything collapses instantly. Instead of revealing history, you destroy it. A booby trap designed with brutal genius, turning the island into a self-defending vault. And ground imaging now shows two distinct flooring levels inside the suspected chamber. Natural caves don't form like that. Sonar picked up dense material above a hollow space, and below that, a jagged cavity. A false floor? Possibly. But nobody wants to find out by triggering it. Excavation stopped immediately. Instead, they sent sonar from multiple angles. The data returned something even more disturbing. Metal. Not modern, not large, but intentionally placed near the walls. Maybe hinges, maybe supports. Definitely not random. If the trapdoor theory is correct, then this chamber was never meant to be reached. It was meant to collapse the moment someone got too close. And Oak Island has a long history of fighting back. Since the 1700s, every major attempt to reach the treasure has ended in disaster. Cave-ins, pits flooding in minutes, artifacts vanishing without explanation. It's as if the island protects its secret. Above ground, another discovery adds fuel to the fire. The stone pathway near the swamp. Flat, patterned, almost like an ancient road. But when Gary Drayton scanned it, iron signals rang out beneath the stones. What if it wasn't a road at all, but a cover, a disguise for the mechanisms below? Every clue is pointing to the same conclusion. Someone with immense power and resources built something extraordinary here. And they built it a very long time ago. Over on Lot 5, an area that remained a blank spot on the map for years, Gary's detector suddenly went wild. He dug down and pulled out a bronze-hammered coin, 500 years old. Look at that. Look at the patina. My hands are shaking. And just like that, another piece of the puzzle falls into place. Here's the thing most people don't realize. Hammered coins stopped being used in Europe after the 1400s. So when the team pulled that hammered coin from Oak Island soil, they weren't just holding an old relic. They were holding something ancient long before the money pit was supposedly created. But that wasn't even the wildest discovery, not by a long shot. Later on, another coin surfaced, this one copper, and experts suspected it had Roman or Byzantine origins. When it went under analysis, the results were jaw-dropping. It dated somewhere between 300 BC and 600 AD. Take a moment and really absorb that. A 2,000-year-old Roman-era coin on a tiny island off the coast of Nova Scotia. Metal tests confirmed it had a silver arsenic signature consistent with pre-1500 European minting. And just like that, the timeline of who could have reached Oak Island shattered into pieces. This connected directly to another discovery, a cobblestone roadway buried in the swamp that matched, stone for stone, the construction style of ancient Roman roads in Portugal, the same region historically tied to the Knights Templar. The puzzle pieces weren't just strange, they were getting ancient. Then came the horseshoe. Near that stone-paved path, the team uncovered a small, hand-forged horseshoe. An expert took one look and nearly fell over. Early 15th century, the 1400s, a 600-year-old horseshoe. And according to the expert, it might be the oldest piece of metal ever found in the swamp, older even than the Roman coin. "I can safely say," he said, "this is the oldest horseshoe I've ever examined." That one artifact opened a new possibility no one was ready for. A horse arriving on Oak Island aboard a massive ship centuries before any documented explorers ever stepped foot in North America. People have always obsessed over wild theories, but now they had physical proof. A horse, a Roman-era artifact, a coin half a millennium old. Clearly, someone was here. But who? And the clues weren't limited to metal. Stone carvings began surfacing, symbols etched into rock. One carving showed a circle inside a cross, a symbol identical to markings found in 12th century Templar fortresses in Portugal. Another was even stranger, a carved goose, a badge used by medieval stonemasons who worked for the Templars. It acted like their signature, a way to mark their presence. This wasn't a random scratch on stone. This was a calling card from one of the most secretive orders in human history. A 2,000-year-old coin, a 600-year-old horseshoe, Templar insignia carved into the island itself. Oak Island wasn't whispering anymore. It was shouting. And these weren't isolated finds. They formed a trail. This is no longer just an excavation. It's an awakening. After the granite wall began vibrating, the team pulled back. And then something eerie happened. Not an explosion, not a collapse, but silence. A silence so heavy it felt like the island was holding its breath. Then the wall shifted. The ancient iron rivets gave way. The granite face cracked, and a piece of the barrier collapsed inward. Behind it was nothing but darkness, a perfect, unnatural void. They lowered cameras in first. Then the team leaned in themselves. What they saw inside didn't make sense. The chamber, intact, untouched. Roughly 20 by 30 feet. The room had a domed roof, supported by enormous timber beams, blackened with age. The walls were carved with precision, lined with alcoves, each one holding objects, but not piles of gold, not pirate loot, something far stranger. "Rick, look at this right here. We've seen that symbol before." "Yeah, and it ties directly to Oak Island." Inside the alcoves were scroll tubes sealed with wax. Dozens of them. Heavy wooden chests, wrapped in iron bindings too big for a small crew to haul. Cloth-wrapped bundles that crackled as the camera's light hit them. And in the dead center of the chamber stood a single stone pedestal. On it sat a square object, encased in what looked like thick, ancient glass. The camera zoomed in. A manuscript. The pages were faded, the binding brittle, too delicate to move. But its age was unmistakable. Beside it rested a ceremonial metal artifact shaped like a cross, but not a Christian one. The style, the markings, they looked older, maybe Phoenician, possibly North African. If this interpretation is correct, the implications are earth-shattering. A pre-Columbian presence in North America. A group with advanced knowledge, and a secret so important they built an underground fortress to protect it. Rick just stared at the monitor. Marty paced, fists clenched. This wasn't treasure. This was a lost archive of human history, a time capsule. They found the chamber. They saw what was inside, but to open it, truly open it, risks everything. The artifacts could disintegrate the moment they're disturbed. The chamber itself could collapse if the structural balance shifts even slightly. And if those traps are still functional, one mistake could destroy it all. So the team made the hardest decision of their lives. They sealed the entrance. For now, world-class archaeologists and preservationists are being brought in, because what's inside that chamber doesn't belong to Oak Island. It belongs to the world, and what it reveals might rewrite entire chapters of our history books. The chamber has been found, but the real mystery is only beginning. What secrets lie in that manuscript? Who designed that underground vault? And is this truly the work of the Knights Templar, or something far older? What happened next is something the crew will never forget. After sealing the chamber, the island seemed to shift again, as if reacting to the intrusion. The wind dropped, the birds vanished, even the air felt heavier, like something ancient was paying attention. And for the first time, Rick admitted out loud what everyone else had only whispered. Maybe they aren't uncovering the island. Maybe the island is revealing itself to them piece by piece, only when it chooses to. That night, the team gathered in the war room. The monitors glowed with images of the manuscript, the sealed scroll tubes, the ceremonial artifact, and the strange glass-like encasement that protected it. Every expert they consulted reacted the same way. Confusion first, then disbelief, then a quiet moment of awe. Whatever this was, it wasn't just historically significant, it was something entirely unique. A collection of knowledge someone deliberately hid in a place where no empire, no king, no conqueror could ever touch it. And then the deeper questions began. Who would have the ability, the time, and the reason to build a chamber that could survive centuries of floods, storms, shifting earth, and human interference? Groups throughout history have protected knowledge: scribes, monks, explorers, exiled scholars, but few had the resources to create a subterranean vault engineered better than many modern structures. The Templars are always the first suspects, but the artifacts inside seem to predate them by centuries. Some even looked older than Rome itself, which led to a terrifying possibility. What if the Templars weren't the origin, but only the latest guardians? One expert suggested the structure resembled ancient Mediterranean memory chambers, hidden repositories built to preserve knowledge through wars and collapse. Only fragments of such vaults have ever been found. Most were rumored to be lost forever. But if somehow one survived, if one ended up across the ocean long before history recorded transatlantic voyages, then Oak Island isn't just important. It's a historical anomaly, a living, impossible fact. The team stared at the reconstruction images, the chambers, the tunnels, the false floors, the trap systems, the layers of stone and wood, the impossible engineering. Everything pointed to a single conclusion. This was not improvised. It was planned with precision. Someone drew blueprints. Someone oversaw construction. Someone tested every trap, every drain, every escape route. This wasn't a treasure vault. It was an intellectual ark, a safeguard for ideas too valuable to risk losing. The kind of vault people would die to protect and kill to keep secret. And that made the next discovery even more unsettling. While scanning the nearby bedrock for structural weaknesses, the equipment picked up faint metallic patterns outside the chamber, a repeating shape just under the surface. When enhanced, the image revealed thin metal strips arranged like ribs, curving around the chamber in a perfect arc. The design didn't match any known trap mechanism. It looked more like reinforcement, but not the kind medieval builders would have used. These strips resembled early alloys that were typically reserved for naval crafts or ritual structures, not underground vaults. And even stranger, they appeared to be hammered into grooves cut deliberately into the stone. Someone didn't just build the chamber, they armored it. The discovery shook the team because it meant the creators were anticipating something catastrophic: floods, collapses, natural disasters, or even human invasion. Whatever they were protecting, they were prepared to defend it for centuries after they were gone. And if they went to such lengths, then the manuscript might hold information not just historical, but dangerous. Secrets powerful enough to alter the balance of kingdoms. Maps, symbols, forbidden knowledge, lost languages, theories that challenged everything we think we know about ancient civilizations. But the island was far from finished with them. As more scans came in, the chamber turned out to be only the first layer. Beneath it, deeper in the earth, the radar picked up another cavity, not as large, not as reinforced, but unmistakably artificial. A lower chamber. The possibility of a second vault electrified the team. But the location made it nearly impossible to reach safely. If the wrong drill punctured the wrong pocket, the entire network could collapse or flood instantly. And yet, the lower chamber was there, waiting. Theories exploded. Was the top chamber only a decoy? Were the scrolls and artifacts placed above to misdirect future explorers away from something far more valuable below? Many ancient cultures built decoy tombs, false chambers filled with beautifully crafted objects meant to fool grave robbers. If the Oak Island builders did the same, then what lies beneath could be the true purpose of the entire island. But why bury something that deep? And why construct a labyrinth almost impossible to navigate? That's when one researcher pointed out something chilling. The symbol carved into the stone, near the swamp, the circle with the central point. In ancient cultures, it represented the sun, but also something else. A hidden core, a protected center, a secret of secrets, and that symbol appeared again near the chamber entrance, almost like a warning, or perhaps a guide. They weren't hiding treasure. They were hiding truth. As dawn broke, the team realized they were standing at the threshold of a mystery so massive that the treasure legend barely scratched the surface. The island isn't just a vault, it's a message from people who crossed oceans before history says they could. People who built underground structures with engineering knowledge that shouldn't have existed yet. People who carried something to this island and buried it so deeply the world wouldn't see it for centuries. Let me know what you think in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for the next chapter in this unbelievable story.